All right. Kia ora, everybody. What's up? It is Robett. Sorry if we are 1 minute late. We are failing. This is a horrible start. What a shit Saturday. I'm with my bro, Jordan Rivers. How are you, my friend?
Very good, bro. Very good. Yeah, I'm in a flat situation, so there's five of us, but we're all pretty tight, close knit group of people. So, and we got ladies too in our house, and they're awesome. They keep the house clean, tell us to do the chores, and keep the house clean and all that. So it's all good.
How are you dealing with? I mean, but you obviously have got the media space, so you can go and do the work stuff. How are you finding it on day three anyway of the mix and mingle between, I guess, a new way of New Zealand living? What's the vibe like?
Yeah. I feel. Are you still there?
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
I'm just using some technology, G. I'm just like hitting the little fancy things, like
my
bam,
bad.
on,
My
bam,
bad.
bam,
Oh,
bam,
I'm-
oh, bam.
I was like, where do you go? No. For me, I work at my firm on the breakfast show and media. Our show got deemed as essential, which sort of feels a little bit strange. It's a little bit weird. I almost feel, while I'm very grateful, I almost feel a little bit, a bit bad about it. But it's I'm very lucky. I get to wake up and go to mahi and for our essential services, or even people from home who do listen to the show. It's good to like pump it up and bring that energy. Yeah, so I'm feeling super stoked about that.
Do you think it feels it's a duty to keep positive in a time where many people are freaking out? Is that part of the weight that that people need? I guess that's part of this type of thing, right? Like it's not all doom and gloom. Like having those, I guess, those moments to laugh and crack jokes, and I guess just try and raise the morale of a nation in some respects. Is that kind of the buzz?
Yeah, it's it's a funny one for me because in some ways I get the buzz of like the positivity stuff, but I'm quite uh, I don't know, a deep thinker, but I'm quite a in these times I think about the vulnerable, and so I always try and keep it in perspective. I think it is a duty to an extent, but I try not to take myself too seriously, um, and just hope that if I share something on the radio or tell a joke or make people laugh, it can sort of help. But I'm under no sort of illusion that I'm in a very fortunate position, and there are whānau out there and people and families and who are really going through it. And so I'm trying to navigate that conversation very carefully, because I don't want to just sort of be like, don't worry, guys, it's only 4 weeks, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I sort of have another take on it that I don't know if I can always talk about freely in that media space.
I think I'll tell you straight. I imagine it probably segues pretty well into it. I put a post up the other day, and I said a couple of times now. It was like March 24th. 9 months from now, man, there's going to be a whole bunch of Christmas Day babies. Ha ha ha! Right, which is 9 months to the day. Pretty funny. I get it. And then someone goes, and divorces and domestic violence. And I'd never thought about the angle of in certain other situations, someone potentially laid off if they're at home. They can't get out. There's no escapism. Things might not be the best family sort of situation. They don't have sport. They're frustrated. They don't have money. They don't have work. They're surrounded by, maybe their home environment isn't either the most relaxed sort of spot. And it's actually forcing physically a whole bunch of dangerous, higher risk, more social situations, especially in the Māori and Pacifica communities. And it's funny that you said that, because it's literally within 24 hours, my headspace actually went to, holy shit, we're going to have a wave of mental health issues with people struggling from the work stuff. And there's also going to be a whole bunch of different domestic sort of challenges and social situations. Is that kind of where your headspace sort of went to with that?
Oh, 100%. And I remember just before the lockdown happened, my friend who works in social services for the police was just like, dude, I shared something and it was like, she was like, man, I just had a laugh. She was like, I've had such a hard day. You just have no idea. Like, she was like talking about it in like a society sense. She's like, just people aren't even there yet for what actually is going to happen to our country in a mental health kind of way. And so when we know our statistics about suicide and domestic violence, and then we realize that these whānau who live in these environments are going to be stuck
Yeah.
in those situations. That has a huge toll, and I feel like we only are still complaining about supermarket lines. You know what I mean? So
It's
I
some
don't
first
think
world problem shit for those. There's a lot of naivety to maybe the realities of some of the words. Like I know in America, I think they're saying 50% of people living paycheck to paycheck. Well, all of a sudden you take 4 weeks out of the landscape, you may not be able to pay rent next week, and then you put that in a caged, isolated, contracted environment that's constrained physically. The spark ups are going to be gnarly. So it's almost forcing. I'm sure there are a lot of scared partners right now, scared partners for their health, for their safety, and as much as it's good that there's these lights of positivity, I think we just need to also be aware that in the community that now will be the time to be really have, I guess, empathy and to try and, I guess, care with a bit more love for others with it, because there's going to be a lot of gnarly shit that comes popping out of the woodworks for this, I feel.
Yeah, bro, 100%. Scared partners, scared children. And I think for me, I've just, I suppose, dissonance around what do I do to help? Because you literally can't, you know what I mean? Like go over and support and affy and usually do what you can do. But I think for me, my take on it is like, it's how I look at this. It's what I say online. It's the messages that I'm getting across. Like I ain't trying to complain about some isolation type stuff. I'm in a very fortunate position, and so for me, I'm just trying to. I don't usually make this much content, but I've been very content driven over the ISO because I just want to be able to provide. I don't think it's so big as a service. I'm not that. I'm not part of the Avengers, but just to try and add something else, another energy into the world. And so that's my way of helping. If I can.
See,
I
feel
about this.
Yeah, I feel really similar. I was in a spot, I think it was maybe last, because I didn't fly back. I was going to fly back to New Zealand 2 Saturdays ago, land on the Monday at 5 a.m, but the 1 o'clock kicked in and I would have been into 2 weeks isolation. So I was like, stuff it, I'll just hang out in the States and do the fam thing for a bit, which was cool. The problem then, I was sort of thinking about, well, now that everyone in New Zealand's then on lockdown, straight away my brain went to, oh shit, everyone's at home and there's a bunch of people stressed out right now. Oh shit. And I was like, oh man, I know a few crew. Stuff it. I'll hit them up and see if they want to have a chat, talk about leadership and business and whatever. And what's kind of happened in the last week, it's just sort of starting to snowball into this thing where it's not that it's a duty, but yours is probably a similar thing around positivity, right? I feel it's, if you're with privilege comes responsibility, right? And so we're in privileged positions that we have a platform to have a conversation. We're in privileged positions where you could pick up the phone and you could get to some pretty influential people. And I think the responsibility of that is in an ecosystem where you're seeing a lot of, and I keep going, it's the wrong wording, but it's the same clickbait, fear-mongering media bullshit that a lot of it has been around. If that's all that other people are consuming, that plants a lot of negative seeds. So I think from my side, I think about, well, what are seeds of value and positivity and just things that I can do, that I can control. And so that's part of what this thing is becoming into with my things, is a small little piece. So it's kind of cool, and props to you for acknowledging and being self-aware enough to realize that that's what it is with you and your situation, for sure.
Yeah, bro. Well, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not. I haven't been able to really switch it off. I'm really worried for, in particular, PI Māori community, because that's my culture, But even for everyone, but yeah, as you just said, like with privilege and responsibility, like this is a time. This is like a moment in history for, I can say, our country, where it's like if you have it, this is your time to give it, and there's going to be a whole lot of people that have shit and they're going to keep it to themselves and they're not going to pay it forward. And that's all good. That's how the world works. This is the society we live in. But what an opportunity if you do and you are willing to, my friend him and his wife own a business, a kitchen kit out business, very successful. And he was just like, yo, we're not paying ourselves. We're for as long as we can, we're gonna we're gonna not pay ourselves and top up our employers' salaries because they just bought homes, they just, you know what I mean? And so that's one end of the spectrum where you can like really give back. And I'm not saying everyone needs to do that, but to me, like, that's some superhero shit, you know, like,
yeah,
to acknowledge, hey, we have enough saved up, or we're gonna be okay. This income isn't completely, you know, we don't desperately need it. Let's give it to people that can. And so from there to maybe all the way back where I'm just trying to make funny videos and, you know, spread some laughter, spread some entertainment.
Good vibes.
Yeah, that's all on the spectrum of like hope and, you know, giving back. And so that's how I like to think about it. We're all in it together.
Word. Now, I guess on a bit more of a positive note with it is when we're going into lockdown, I had this prediction where I said I feel that there's going to be the biggest wave of creativity and music and creation and ideas and whatever. And I even went so far as said I think that all of the weak YouTubers that were having these happy-go-lucky, let's just travel the world as I vlog, and I don't actually need to try to create because all the content's in front of me, and now stuck at home. And it's like, okay, do you actually have the talent to create remotely in a confined space and still be relevant? So I think that the true talent of creativity is starting to rise to the top, and I think a whole bunch of new talent and creativity has been pushed up, and people are trying and consume because they get bored and they're like, oh, stuff it, why not try it? And I think weirdly enough, and maybe I'll go down the TikTok group for just a second, is I feel that if you look at Instagram of pure polish, and then you look at TikTok of raw fun, you in your pajamas doing whatever, that's TikTok. Like, Instagram is I'm outside and it's professional. TikTok feels I'm inside and I'm human. And weirdly enough, the growth of TikTok, not only stock or business or engagement or whatever, it's almost creating a creative outlet and community through these different dance challenges and bits and pieces. What are your thoughts on that?
100%. Like, I just got on TikTok, and strangely, I'm 29, but I was like, shit, I feel old on this app. Like, I've been messaging my sister like, why is this funny? And she has to explain it to me. And I'd love to think that I'm very like sort of ahead of the curve, and, you know, I get it. But I love TikTok for that very reason, that it just feels like people can be who they are.
Yeah.
And,
no filter, no bullshit, no fake polish, no apps, no nothing.
Yeah, and even in way of like me not understanding it, there's like these community groups who all sort of get this certain humor, and like, and then it's, you know, I think I've always loved the internet because I think it can be a place where you realize you're not alone. You know, it has heaps of other problems, but for the most part, TikTok, I love TikTok. I really appreciate what's happening on there.
The musician, I've even just been watching some of the music that's been coming out of it. Live DJ sessions, like DJ Nice did a thing. Got to like 100,000 views.
Nice, he is incredible.
A whole bunch of it was. Did you see that thing whole pop off?
Yeah, I saw P Diddy on, and he was like, "Oh, what's up, Diddy? I see." It was like, wow, all the stars are like, you know, people, and it's genius. And I love, because I feel like DJs don't always get the love and respect that they do for their skills and what they're about. But DJs have really been a staple part of our lockdown viewing.
Yep.
So I'm loving it. And also artists, like, they live in the studio anyway, so they must just be honing down, trying to be. I think we're going to have the best songs of the decade come out of this, you know, and the best musicians make their stuff out of this.
Well, you think about when the classic music interview will be, oh, I can't wait to get back from the road and I can just lock myself in a studio and create. Now it's like, stuff all the tours, stuff all the schedules, stuff all the managers, stuff all the merchandising, stuff everything. You are locked at your house in a flipping room, and you're going to get into creation mode. So I think that's going to be pretty awesome to see. I totally agree with you that that's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And I can't wait. And you're right around the sort of the social media creation content. The cream's going to rise to the top. Like there's a lot of smoke screen and mirrors and influencing. And I try not to hate on the influencing thing too much, but a lot of it is a load of garbage. And like,
How so?
I think I think that's what TikTok's sort of done. It's changing people's how they receive content, and what it's done is it's taken the shine off those very slick social sort of people that we follow, and it's going, I actually like the real stuff. I don't need it all cut professionally, and as you know, it was your point, but I think I'm also on the other side of that. I'm very interested in how we receive content as a wider audience moving forward. I think we're over the sort of influencers now. Like we don't want to see your tea being promoted no more. Like we're not trying to buy a t-shirt off you no more. Like I think people are going to come out of this like very like, nah, the world almost ended and we got through it and I'm off that bullshit. Like actually show me something dope.
It was some the depth with it, right? Because on on LinkedIn, for example, right now you've basically had, I would say, 80% of the business ecosystem have heard of LinkedIn, maybe seen it now and again, and then this last 2 weeks, all of a sudden, like, holy shit, I can't now meet people for coffee and go out for drinks and catch up with them. I can't go face-to-face meetings. How do I make money virtually, remotely? It's like, oh shit, I need a professional presence. Oh shit, I need LinkedIn. Oh shit. And so what you're actually seeing, and I don't know if you follow the LinkedIn game as much, but a ridiculous wave of whole bunch of people who never gave a shit about it, all of a sudden trying to come on board and try and sell shit. Here's another online course. Here's this thing. Yeah, because there's no other way to do it, right? And so, but what's happening is they are thinking that by stepping into the ecosystem and just going straight for the kill shot, that's just how you do it, not realizing it's about building an audience and building community with the right intent and giving good value through content where they buy into and bringing depth to those relationships. So that's why, like in the last week, I've had maybe 8 to 10 people ask me how to start a show on Facebook.
Wow.
And for some of them, it's cool because they're some of them are my homies and I want to help, and they obviously are stuck at home. And some of them are just like, dude, you've never given a shit about this online thing, and now you all of a sudden you're going to roll up like you actually care. Stuff you. But the thing is, the market dictates, and the market can tell, and they can see through all that bullshit. So I think probably maybe exactly to your point is that the cream will rise to the top once again. And I think there's going to be a wave of great creators who've always been creating, who then really shine because they've got the credibility. You're going to have these fake Muppets who are trying to exploit community and try and convert and milk. There's going to be the third wave, which will be genuine epic weapons who have never been brave enough to try that then do, and it pops. And there's going to be this new wave of rad hitters that come out of this thing. And so I'm really excited for that. Like I'm happy for number 1. I'm off it for number 2, and then I'm really happy for number 3.
Yeah, totally. I've always felt, it's I don't know how to like sort of unpack what's in my head right now, but I've always felt like I have a social media presence. I've made some stuff that has really taken off, but I've always tried to think about who am I as a person, and I think for a lot of social influencing, the content drives the person. And so
what do you mean by that?
I think it's like, opposed to being a human being and feeling like what's happening in the world, feeling through what's happening in your whānau or your friendships, understanding the changes that you are going through and what you're feeling and what you're dealing with, and that being inspiration for content. I think what happens with a lot of social, and this is just me and my take on things, but I think what happens for a lot of social people who have a social presence, what they're trying to post or what they're trying to get out of an audience drives who they're becoming. And so the content is good and and for your audience, they feel like, oh, that's what they do, and yada yada yada. But when times like this happen, and suddenly you can't create the video you had in your head because we're on lockdown or for whatever reason, then you're like, okay, what do I do? So for me, I love these kind of times because I'm always aware of like, it's like the gym. Like for me, I need to be doing mental reps. I need to be doing spiritual reps. I need to be doing, self-critiquing myself reps. I'm always trying to figure out I've got to be able to address things about myself in real time. And through learning that, through perspective, the content gets better. Yeah, I might not be able to make a video or a post for 3 weeks or a month or whatever, but I'm not like, it doesn't drive me, the timeline of content. I do know, however, that content is a game where you have to get stuff out and stay frequent. I get that. But for me, just personally, it needs to feel real. And it needs to feel like me. And so often I'm trying to hold on to like, sorry, bro, this is all like weird. It's all like not really coming out how.
No. I don't keep going. I get it because
but it's the same. It's the same thing of like, if I'm having a shit day, I'm going to talk about that. Or if I'm not ready to articulate what I'm feeling in a way where people can join in and feel like, oh, I feel like that. All I'm trying to do is reflect really who I am. And if people mess with it, they mess with it. But what I'm not going to do is wake up and make this like hilarious video when I'm just not feeling it. And so for me,
because it's a truer representation of the full you in and out of those moments of brilliance, right?
Yeah, and I think what it also does is it allows me not to get into this game so much that I lose, sort of that sense of self. Because I think that's the greatest superpower right now. Like, our soul and like our, our wairua and our hinengaro and keeping that intact, that's sort of like really how I roll. And so when I do make content, that's why, all I'm saying is I get told that the content that I make it feels real and it feels really genuine. But that's not me trying to make it feel more real than any other influencer or person doing content. It's just that's how I look at it. It's like,
I think you've hit at a good point. You're not crafting your content to a brief of what you think other people want. You are creating your truth as you're seeing it. So the actual product that others are seeing is you, not the byproduct of what other influencers are creating.
Yeah. And I say that I do that to the best of my ability. Of course, sometimes, I know how to play the game and charm it up, but to the best of my ability, that is what I'm trying to do. I don't want to come out here and be like, I'm a purist. No.
But you're right, though, because I think to the point is if in a time like this, when you're feeling these other influences, people are over these, bullshit teas or whatever, they're looking for that real shit. And, I was talking to a buddy the other day, just, I guess, checking in and talking some shit. And I was like, how are you, bro? Actually. And he was like, yesterday, real shit. Today, better. And it was just this moment of truth of actually like, not, oh yeah, good, bro, good. It's like, no, bro, it's not good. The world's turned flipping upside down. No one can, it's never been like this ever before. I think it's opening up, in business anyway, it's opening up leaders to be more authentic and vulnerable to their and humanizing them that they wouldn't be seen. And I think from an influencer side, I really feel there's going to be a bloodbath of exploitive influencers that have not actually added value, that have had an easy ride, that get not only exposed, but just pumped. And to that, but other side of it, to your thing, their business model is creating briefs as byproduct. Your output is your truth. And I think that is a timeless, totally scalable, authentic thing, because then you can just continue to do you, but with better. I
always try and think like, if my handles got 100 bro, 100. And I always try and think like, if my handles on social got taken away, we all good, because I'm the vessel anyway. I'm dope. You know what I mean? Like, and I can hang, and I can hang by myself, and I really do laugh at my own jokes sometimes. Like, and so I try and think about it like that. But you're so right. There will be a bloodbath.
But I think it's needed to happen for a while. In business, the same thing's going to happen. A lot of people that haven't, but on the other side of it, you see all these great, like, I'm super excited to see all the great creativity and the new faces that come out of this thing, of some random dude from Invercargill who, you know, is a mechanic during the day, and he's a random drummer, and he's never been in a band, and he starts putting some shit out. And then you've got, you know, some artist and gore, you know, just all these random, like, amazing, talented humans that exist here that start creating. Not if businesses are forced to innovate, I think creators are going to forced to create, and all for good, right? Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, 100. What do you sorry, this might be a side question, but like, I know you know about this stuff. Like, what are you seeing with business and sort of our country moving forward and the economy and stuff like that? Like, obviously they're trying to just keep us hopeful, but it's about to turn to shit, right?
I failed math at high school. I'm not an economist, didn't go to university, but I've got a lot of really smart friends now. And the tail of this thing is that I think that the most mission critical thing to get New Zealand not only back, but potentially bigger than before, is to stop the shit and be back in business and open for business to the world. So commercially, what will happen, right, is if other places in the world keep letting it spread and they don't throw down the hammer as hard, they can't get back to business. If they can't get back to business, it still say shut down, economy grinds to a halt, and then everyone, I think US just reported, I think the number was 3.3 million unemployed in the last 2 weeks that filed yesterday. Now, think about it the other way. That's bad, and it's going to continue. They just did a $2 trillion bailout. I think they're printing out billions by the day at the reserve, whatever. New Zealand, if we're really good boys and girls, I was talking about this with Fit Crone the other day, we could be back to business within 2 months, like really well. And then think about every single global company that can't operate in their own country, but New Zealand is open for business. Now, if New Zealand becomes globally open for business and they can set up remote offices and whatever, what staff do you think they're going to employ all these overseas companies? They're going to employ New Zealanders. What are the exports? Everything is going to become New Zealand. And then you think about it as well. If the world has tough times, say for 6 months, and now you start in the Northern Hemisphere, let's just say Northern Hemisphere for now. We come through the winter, we're open for business, we come into spring. Fast forward 6 months, what you think anyone in there, if you've been in the Northern Hemisphere and you've had the worst summer of all time, stuck inside, not working, blah, 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 and now it's coming into winter and it's lifted and you can travel, well, where's now coming into summer? Where's open for business? Where's that great, amazing place that you want to go? Where's that awesome escapism piece? Bro, this is chess shit. So I've talked to some smart brains about this, and they said the same thing. They're like, mate, if we do our cards right, this next summer for New Zealand could be commercially bonkers. Like, it will be a flipping...
I've never heard that. That's so dope.
Bro, this is some shit. And so I've talked to bank crew, and like this, you know, like I'm really very fortunate, similar to yourself, to have, like, I am not the brain when it comes to stuff, but just the conversations, you can see how they think about things. The bit that's going to stuff us is the flipping Muppets don't listen. It spreads more. And if the numbers keep going up, they have to keep us locked down. And all the issues. So it's like everyone needs to just sit still and think. And if we can do it fast and quick, like, we also need to be really, I guess, fortunate that we only had, I think it was 102 or 200 or whatever when we put the lockdown in. America's had, you know, I think 50,000 in New York, and that's already spread throughout America. And if you look at these other spots, so I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to say it, but what I do know is that the quicker it leaves, and if we jumped early and we came hard, flipping epic. If we can be diligent and extremely tight on this next 4 weeks, and we get back to a level 3 and we start moving again, holy shit, we are going to have a global wave of business come here and a global wave of tourism that, like, we've never seen before. Like, it will be, because that everyone will want escapism. And then Air New Zealand now is flying direct to New York. So where's the
Yeah.
worst place that they've been stuffed? New York. Holy shit, you could go direct. Obviously, you'd have to. I can almost guarantee that our border crossings will be batshit crazy. But yeah, so what do I think? I think this is very simple. I think if we shut up, sit down, flip and listen, lock shit down, New Zealand's going to be better than before, and we will have a lot of shit to clean up with, without a doubt. But the same time, I mean, you don't know how the flow-on effects from these international economies, and I just don't know the money stuff enough. So I always like to see the upside, and I'm hoping that we could get to the upside sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's dope. That's oh man, that's I haven't even thought like that. That's so cool. I think the other side of me, which is the very the matrix side that I sort of like, wants to there's a rebelling in me and a disrupting in me, but I feel like this isn't one of those times where you sort of question, but I'm a questioner. I'm like, I ain't just gonna believe like what you are saying, but I do feel for people that feel like this is the thing where it's like, no, we need to like not be controlled, but it's like, actually, I think this is one of the ones where we should probably listen. You know what I mean?
Dude, if people are dying, yes, let's listen. Like this is not the danger here, I guess, in America is you have people that's like, this is a free country, we do what you will, you're not going to tell me what to do, rada. I've got my gun, blah blah. For a lot of people, obviously not the smart ones, but a lot of people feel like that. We don't have that in New Zealand because I think we realize within 1 week it literally impacted every single one of us to such an extent where we are in the same team to do it, to move forward.
Yeah, no, totally. I think when you hear, I mean, I think we just need to have a lot of grace for one another, right? Like even my whānau who, like even my whānau who, post up, like they've gone down a black hole on YouTube overnight and, they start going hard. Like for me, I'm like, it's okay. Like that they think they're getting fucked over a bit and, there's some big conspiracy. It's like, I think we just need to have grace for one another that this is actually a huge undertaking, asking people to actually stay home, the financial stress, the future stress, that in a time when this has just never happened before, we all need to just kind of not be so quick to call people dipshits and dumbasses and muppets, but just try to understand one another. I think that's also a way to get through
it. Jason Paris, who's the CEO of Spark of Vodafone, sorry, on Monday was saying, we need to be kind, lead with kindness, and I think, talking to Vic and so, lead with love. So like, be kind, be a good human, have a bit of empathy for others on it. And I think the wave of it is there's going to be a lot of forced, uncomfortable conversations for this nation, but at the same time, also hopefully a lot of, continual resistance and kind of a bond that gets us through it on the brighter side faster. And I think conversations like this are important because they need to, I feel, it's weird, you probably feel the same way. I feel a duty to be having these chats.
Yeah.
And you feel a duty to create. It's
100%.
Yeah. It's quite weird that, heavy lies the crown.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like you. I always try and I always acknowledge the elephant in the room if I'm feeling it, but at the same time, I'm like, I have to stay. It's not about, and I think you'd agree with this. It's not about just staying up for the sake of it. Like, come on, guys, let's be positive. Like, it's like, no, we can acknowledge that things feel shit and I'm very afraid and terrified, but we cannot. I'm just one of those people that just refuse. I just don't know how only feeling like that is a motivator. I have to feel like it's okay, even if I get this all wrong. I'd rather move in a hopeful way. I'd rather move in a way where I feel energized about a situation that I'm feeling shit about or scared about. Like I'm real big on that. Like I just don't. I don't see the point in walking. I think acknowledging fear is good, but walking with fear that's a different thing. So I try.
You're deceptively deep, my friend. Deceptively deep. I mess with that shit. No, it's good. It's good. I get it.
You too,
it's
bro.
layers, right?
that's why we've probably had 3 conversations. This is probably our 3rd conversation in life. But it's like, you look at people sometimes and you're like, in another space, I think we're in the same tribe. You know, like
well,
we are
knew that
anyway.
straight away. But
Yeah.
we knew that real straight, I think, because that was it would have been only a couple of months ago, right? Because I came in, I spoke to, because you're with the Multi TV crew, and I caught up 2 months ago, was it?
Yeah, bro. It would have been just over 2 months ago.
And then I think we see each other twice in the same week, because then I think both of our good mutual friend Mon from DB, Auntie Mon.
Love Auntie Mon.
That's right. At the tennis. That's right. At the tennis. So it was a couple months ago.
She messaged me yesterday. She was like, "Do you need anything?" I was like, "Maybe some beer." She was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, sweet, it's all good."
Dude, Auntie Mon is the shit, man. She's so dope. Like, me and her go back a bit, and her partner in crime, Cody. Yeah, and you obviously know Cody as well. Next time you see him, he's the lurker.
Yeah.
Call him the lurker.
Yeah.
Now, this has been awesome chat, bro. Let's definitely do it again. Before we go, I've got one idea that I just want to sense check it in public. And plus, also, if it's good, I want to claim the IP. And I think you could help do it. Okay, this is the idea. Okay. I've got a friend of mine in the music business. He's done very, very well for himself, and he's discovered and managed some of the world's biggest artists of the last 2 decades. He's he's a dude. So you don't need to name drop him, but if you probably know the word, you know who he was. Now, I was thinking about, and I got a message. I was been thinking this thing of, it'd be cool to have these New Zealand DJs doing little live streams and cutting in between them, right? And like have this little thing that I saw. Scott Storch and Timberland had their little Insta thing where they made that beat over the thing, which was epic. And then I was thinking about, okay, well, let's just take this shit straight mainstream. What about if we did a thing called, drum roll please, Isolation Idol, and we put a public link out to whoever's like an unsigned artist or musician or whatever that's stuck at home that's been creating. And because in this technology, we can only have up to 6 people use the link at the same time. And so you could like round table it where they pop in, we chuck them on, be like, what's your name? Where you from? You've got a minute, go. And then just literally people thumbs up or thumbs down, and they just get like flagged off or flagged up. And then we message it, and then the weapons we could send through to my buddy who could change their life with one phone call. And so the idea was like, how cool would it be to have like a weekly session? I was thinking like a Sunday Arvo at like 4:30 or something, just before dinner. And then it gives a shot to use the platform for musicians and singers and songwriters or whatever to create, and it becomes this thing of like Isolation Idol.
Yeah, bro. And how stinky if like you get on and you're shit, and then it's like, oh nah, hop off the live. Nah. I'm keen to help. Like I know a lot of artists and musicians in New Zealand. Like I always plug them, and I've been going live with them anyway. So there's an artist. Oh my god, there's an artist that I need your friend to see. She's incredible, but I'll get her to come on. We'll figure it out. It's a good idea.
Well, I mean, yeah. I just think, and then you could interview them up. Where you from? Like we could like shit. Maybe even you want to jump on it. We could just banter them like, where you from? What's your deal? Let them go at it, and then it can be like a little Q&A thing. And if people are coming up, it could become like a little thing. Maybe we should do it. We should do it. All right, I'll hit up after this.
Hit me up.
Isolation Idol. If people want to check you out on the gram, see some of your positive vibes, where can they go to? What can they do? Feel free to plug your shit right about now.
Yeah, I've made a challenge, bro. I'm gonna put a vlog video every single day in isolation. It's so stressful. My flatmates hate me. They're like, piss off. But the content's coming. I am the river _ Jordan. Don't mock me. I made it. I've just kept it since I was like 18. So yeah.
_ At least it's not, loves music 69 at Gmail. Some shit. Yeah.
Or official after it. I despise
or official.
Official.
Or the real. The real River Jordan.
Bless you, bro. Thank you for having me on.
Much love, brother. And let's talk about this Isolation Idol thing. I think it's got legs. My man.
Let's go.
That was the bro, Jordan River. Absolute good human, good bastard, deceptively deep with the thinking, really talented, And you go through his Instagram, you see a whole bunch of his stuff. So it's the River_Jordan on the gram. Feel free to slide into the DMs or do what you do. Enjoy the rest of the Saturday, team. If you think Isolation Idol would be great, feel free to let us know. I think we could try it out, which would be pretty sweet. And yeah, enjoy. I'm off for the rest of the day. Adios. Keep smiling, New Zealand. Keep smiling, Aotearoa. See you soon. Peace.